Hello everybody, I'm Evan, and we have been going through how to make a custom Stardew Valley farm mod. Today we're going to go through the actual JSON setup, manifest, content JSONs of your farm map. Plus, we're going to add some trees in because I forgot to do that last time. The last time I added a tree, a functioning tree, like a fruit tree, to a map, it was a custom tree, and it had to be both in the JSON and in the map. We're adding some apple trees around the gate, and in my head, I remember doing it in both places, so I wanted to save it for this video, and then I sat down to do this video and realized, oh, it only has to be on the map because we're using the existing apple tree. So anyway, I'm going to show you that first, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into setting up our content and manifest and everything. So let's get started. So to start off with, I'm going to go ahead and show you we have to make a folder first and then put everything into the folder and then manifest, and we can start making our content JSON with our data and everything that we need to do through that. So as you can see, I have a folder here. I have everything connected to my GitHub so I don't lose anything because, as some of you know, my computer crashed and I got extremely lucky. I didn't lose everything, so now I'm paranoid and it's all connected to GitHub. So I have made this folder right here to store our mod that we're currently making. And I'm calling it Applegate Farm because I'm going to put a pair of apple trays on either side of the gate. In here, we have a folder for assets. And like I told you last time, I had to make some artwork. So as you can see, this is our rolled map assets and our farm icon for the selection screen. This is the part I was saying I might split off into another video, but I have them all in my assets folder. And then when I'm completely finished with my tiled map, I'm going to transfer it out of the map folder and put it in here with these. There's no tile sheets because I have been using only vanilla game tiles. One reason I've done that is because then hopefully it should work with any recolor mods out there. Whereas if I had made my own tile sheet, I would have to then go and make a variation for each one, which is not the point of this. Recoloring, I may do down the line as a whole different series of videos. But for now, this is how we're storing our map. In this folder, we are going to put, we've gone back up one level. In our main folder, we're going to put our manifest and our content JSON. I'm going to go ahead. I've got VS Code up. I'm just going to make the files to start. So I want to be in this folder. File, new file. And make sure it gets saved here. And so then, okay, and then same thing. Oh, not a text file. File. Okay. And these are both blank right now, but you can see that they are now in the same folder as our asset folder. The first thing we want to do for both of these is our open and close brackets. Same thing here, open and close brackets. I'm going to copy a manifest from one of my other ones. Oh, not that one. Okay, so you can see my structure. Your structure on your manifest, and I've gone over this in an entirely different video. You can go back, I believe it's at the beginning of our How to Make a Mod series. So if you want to understand the full structure, just visit that video. But because it's always the same, and I already have a farm map that I had been working on completely separate from this, I've just copied it over. I'm going to rename this one to the same name we've been using. Version 1. Let me turn view world map. Yep. Just add a line here because there we go. Go. And then I need to change our unique ID. I don't have a Nexus update key because it's not there. So I'm just, when I get this uploaded to Nexus, the TBD will be replaced with the actual Nexus number. For now, I'm putting TBD so I know that I haven't done it, but I have the space in there so I remember to do it. And then this is a content patcher mod, so we need our content pack 4 section. So, like I said, I didn't go through step by step on our manifest so much as showing you that we need to make a manifest and the bits that need to be unique. And if you want to learn how to make the manifest, you can check out the how to make a manifest video. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And go ahead and exit out here. 2.8.0. Okay. So this is the modding content patcher page on the wiki. I never remember what number we're currently on. So when I make a new content patcher mod, I just go to this page and I copy this number. They're really good about keeping it up to date, and that way I have the most current number listed at the start of my mod. And then going down the line, if something updates or changes, and this requires an update, I just update the number. But I always start out with the number at the time of when I'm starting making my mod, and typically I leave it that way. So it's going to be the 2 brackets, format, colon, in our case it's 2.8.0. We can then do the brackets and its changes. And then we have our open and close bracket. Again, I believe that needs to be capitalized. There we go. And square bracket. Excuse me, I've forgotten a bracket. That would have broken. I'm glad I double checked. So square bracket. Square bracket, open and closed. And again, I always put a space there, and then anything I put in my changes, I'm going to put in this space, and that way my closing brackets always stay at the end. And then all of our sections will go in that changes section. So because I have a couple things that I need to make sure I cover in this, I'm going to make a couple notes, and then we'll just go through the notes and fill in each section. So the first thing I know I need to put in is the apple trees. I know we need to set up some fishing areas. We know we need to set up the forageables. And then the last bit we will need to be able to set up is the world map. And our selection screen. We're going to open our farm map. I want to put them right here at the gate. And I'm going to put this little tree with a C in our paths tile sheet. It's at the bottom, second from the bottom row. It looks like a pine tree with a C. And I am going to place that on my paths layer where I want to put the tree. Here and here. I'm going to leave the space from the between the fence because strictly speaking, the tree would need a square area. So I'm going to fit them right there. So I have those two spots. We now need to do a tile data. I have done this in my garden cottage, so I also have that map pulled up for reference. In my garden cottage map, it's the Macintosh apple that's right here in front of the trash can. And I believe it's on the building layer. So I am going to copy its spawn tree. I'm actually just going to spawn tree. Okay, making sure I'm on the right land buildings. It's on paths. Okay. So this is why I double check myself. So I need to make a new object layer. It's the pink one. I'm going to name it paths. Because this needs to be on the paths, I'm going to take my square tool and draw a square over that tree icon. I'm going to name it tile data. We're going to go down to custom properties. We're going to right click at property. It's spawn tree. All one word, capital S, capital T. And then we have this section for our box, for our entry field. Okay. So here we are on the wiki. It tells us right here it's on the paths. If I'd gone to the wiki, I would have seen that immediately. So it's the thing we put in. We need type, ID, stage on spawn, and stage on regrow. Okay. So our apple tree stage, this is our stages of your tree. So if you want it to start out as a sapling, you put it on stage 1. Here's your middle stages, and our last stage is 5, which is why our Macintosh tree was 5. I just needed to refresh my memory. 5 is full grown, so we definitely want to keep it 5. The other thing I'm going to need is my apple tree ID. So this is the handy chart by Mateus Aquino. I've shown it to you before. I love this chart. It makes it so easy to find our IDs. We're going to have this up because it also has all of our forages and the things. So I need to find... So what we need is 633. It looks like the sapling and the fruit tree are the same number. To confirm real quick, I'm going to look at the one I already did. I've only done this once, but I got it to work. So I'm just confirming that what I did matches up with what I think I'm doing now. A little bit. There we go. Make it easier to see. So just confirmed it is what I think that is. So we need it was back to the wiki. Type, ID, stage on spawn, stage on regrow. I'm going to copy this into my tiled map. I'm going to open our box. Type is fruit. The apple tree stages were 5 and 5. 5 space 5. Close that. And then our ID was 633. And now that I have that in one spot, I can select it, copy, paste it to the other spot, and that tells our map where to grow those apple trees. Now I can go ahead and save this. That is all we need to do on the map itself. So I can close that out, and I'm going to copy my map over. I'm going to make a copy because if I need to make changes, I need this one here with all of the tile sheets and everything. And then we're going to go over to the assets. We're going to paste it in. So now because This, if I open this, you're going to see a lot of red boxes because it's no longer linked to the tile sheets in my map folder. It is now trying to link to the actual game tile sheets. And because those are stored in the game instead of my folder, it's going to show you what looks like a lot of brokenness. That is expected. This is why you keep a copy in your maps folder until you're absolutely 100% sure you're done with your map. I'm going to just close out of that before I accidentally save everything. But that is normal. So when you make edits to your map, you would make edits to the one that is in your maps folder with the tile sheets. You then copy and replace the one that's in your mod folder. So now our map and our everything is in our folder. So now it is time to focus on the coding part of it. All right, so I have the farm data wiki page pulled up. I'm going to try to remember to put all the pages I reference in the description for this video. There's a few of them, so if you find I've missed one, let me know in the comments and I will get it linked. So to start out with, your farm data is all kind of together here on this modding farm data page on the wiki. You have your type of farm, your icon texture, your world map texture, all of this. This is a portion I have not done before, so I'm going to be figuring this out. We're going to be testing it and seeing if I get it right. As we go down, we get into location data, which is on a different location data wiki page, which will also be linked. Location data is going to be where our fishing locations and our forageable items are stored, and they are very kind and give us an example here. So we are going to be using this example as reference as we go through. I can see some of our standard sections here are already there, which is very useful because I was trying to figure out if it would be farms or if there's a different thing. So seeing that they have the additional farms actually answers that question for me. So we're going to open our content and we're going to start making our setup section. Get back to where I made all the notes. I have, this, I'm actually going to move back up here. I was just putting them in order of things I thought to include. So that's to make sure I don't miss anything. So we have action target entries is pretty standard. With my quotes, always got to remember the open close quotes. Okay, so open and closed brackets. I'm going to put a comma behind this blue one because I know we're going to have additional sections, and that's going to be what differentiates our sections. Open and close quotes, action, colon, action, close quotes, edit, data, comma, target, colon, comma, quotes, entries, colon, quotes, comma. Edit data is all one. If you want to, because syntax is very important, you can copy out of the examples, which is what I am doing because I have a tendency to typo. So it's going to be data / additional farms according to this example. And again, I have not actually done this part before, so I am very much using this example as a guide. But once you've done enough things, it becomes very easy to look at these examples and go, oh yeah, that's what I have to do. So it just takes a little time and practice and you can pick it up. Entries is the next bit. So this looks like where we're going to, as you can see, they name their farm. They give their farm an ID. What is tooltip string? Sorry. Tooltip string. Okay, so we need to set up a I118 file for translations. Okay, so really quick, I'm going to go back in my folder make a new folder. This I18N. And here, sorry, I'm going to open my other one and confirm if there's any. Just open and close. That's a config. There we go. Yeah, just open and close and then the dialog. Okay, it's pretty standard. Okay, let me get file, new file. Default dot n. We're going to go click into our I18N folder, create the file there, open and close brackets, and now as I put anything that needs translating, I can put it right here, and then down the line, if someone decides my map strings need a translation, those files can just be put into the I18N folder, and people will have translation into their language. Okay, so let's keep going. We need to name our farm, and then we will want, okay, down. It was curly brackets. Yes, it's curly brackets. I did remember that correctly. I go down a line, over. I'm going to do the mod ID token to start mine off with, and that is immediately going to pull in our mod ID and add it for our farm name. And then it was another open and close curly bracket. So everything applied to this farm is now going to go in this next set of brackets. Actually close that. There we go. And ID, tooltip, string path. I'm going to copy these. ID. And then our ID is the same as what we've officially named the farm. So I'm going to copy that, make sure it's exact. Over here into what we've set up in our I18N folder, double quotes, copy that, colon, second pair of quotes where we will actually put our string in a comma to tell it that the next line will have something else. Go back to my modding page. Tooltip string, what does this need to be? Containing the translatable farm name and description. So it will be applicant farm underscore. I'm going to copy this so that I follow the same bit. So over to this. So name dash description. So name. Farm. Description. So the next section becomes comma there, map name, colon, comma. I am following this. I am just copying in the sections real quick, and then I will go back and fill them out. Texture. world map texture, because then I can go up here and look at this chart while I fill them out. All right. So map name, the asset name for the farm's map asset relative to the maps folder, for example. Maps dash. So I need to go back into my folder here. Let me find it again. So in my Applegate farm, I'm going to go into assets. I'm going to new folder. I'm going to name it maps. And I'm going to move my farm map into the maps folder. And that way I know I have not messed up my all right, so, okay. Let me get my thoughts in order and then I can explain it. So what we're doing is we're setting up the reference points here, and then down here we are loading in the assets and assigning them the reference name. So what I need to do is put in the name I'm going to reference at the top section, and then we will load in the other sections. So actually what I want my map name to be is Applegate Farm, just like that. Icon texture, Applegate icon, and then our world map texture. Put Applegate world. Okay. So, like I said, we're assigning the names, we're putting the names in so that the code knows which name to go reference. And then next, we're going to set them to load in and assign each piece the name. I've given it here exactly the same. So when it says Applegate icon, it'll go down to load icons and go, oh, that's Applegate icon. That's what I put here. So let's do that part next. We want to close out our section. Just this bit. Okay. Comment here. Loading assets. Do an open and close bracket again, and a comma after the blue one, because again, that's comma is what tells it this is a new section. So it's action target entries for the, this is going to be adding the farm name and description. Already finding a typo. Action, colon, brackets, comma, target, colon, quotes, comma, trees, colon, quote, not quotes, curly bracket, space, edit data, just caught something because we're assigning the strings UI. This actually needs to be strings UI mod ID. Yes, because they do it right here in the entries. So I'm going to name it mod ID underscore tooltip. And then entries. Okay. So target, we're changing the, or not changing so much as we're adding a new strings UI. So this bit right here is adding this right here. Okay, so entries, and then let's see how that's done. So our entries becomes a pair of quotation marks, the name we assigned right here. So this and this are exactly the same. You can tell when I highlight it. And then the colon, quotes, and now I will take that translation ID I made earlier and I will just move that between those quotes. And that's where that comes from. Just need to do a bit more reading on it. So I'll do a new set of blue brackets, comma at the end. Action target from file. Quotes, action, colon. And this one is different. This one is a load, L-O-A-D, target, colon, and from file tells it our file path. So we're going to do on target, it's going to be maps slash, and then the map name, which we made up here was Applegate Farm. And now we're going to tell it in our maps folder. So we need to do, trying to remember my file path here. See, it's assets slash maps. It's going to become maps slash farm.tfx. Let me confirm. Sometimes the file type doesn't go on the end. Yes, the file type goes on the end. Okay, and that is how you load in your map file. Next section is a new set of curly brackets, comma at the end. So we've got our tool description, loading in our map. We got to load in our icon now. So it's going to be action load, just like we did right here, action load. Target. Oh, I see what they did. Okay. And they're loading in their icon. So this is going to be I see. So I do want to do something. I'm going to add the mod ID. Go in and add this mod ID. Add this to the beginning of all of our things because that assigns it to just this mod. And then because I added it up here, I have to make sure that I go down to right here and add it there. Target, colon, our quotes. And we have I have to do this twice. They've used the target without path, which I can't do because I didn't name my things the same way they did in the example. So we're going to choose one of these, and then we're going to do it for the other one as well. Okay, yeah, that whole thing is the name. So target, the name exactly as you put up here. We're going to do our icon texture first. From file again. File. Assets slash, because they're in my assets folder. What I just need is just the name on the next bit. We've made PNG files. .png. And then because we now have to do our world map portion as well, I'm just going to copy because most of that is the same. I'm going to copy our world map name down, place it here. And then this is the part where I assign the season. So I need my folder. I'm just going to copy one of these over. So it's assets slash farm Applegate world. But instead of fall here, I'm going to do a set of double brackets, and I'm going to change that fall to season. And that is a token that it's just going to pull in whatever season is currently in game. And you'll notice I named my world map files with the season, fall, spring, summer, winter right at the end there. So that portion right there where it's contained in that double bracket and says season, it's going to automatically replace with the season that's being played in the game. And then it's going to then automatically correspond to that token word at the end of that file. And the correct season world map should show on the world map when that season is in play. And then I gotta finish it. It's a .png. So when you're loading, you have to put your file type. So there's all of our load ins. Details. Load sets. Okay, and then back to our example. All right, so now we have our custom farm data. So this is going to be our forage bowls and our fishing spots. So let's go ahead and get that set up. So I've got those set. Oh, just trying to. Oh, okay. There's not a. Okay. Thinking there's an extra line there, and there's not. Just organizing. Go. So we're going to do a new set of curly brackets because that's going to load in our custom location data. So it's action, edit data, target, data locations. I believe I did go through and make a video on setting up custom locations when I made the Maple Park map for my Garden Cottage mod. So if you need more details there, you can go look there, but it's very similar here. So it's action, edit data, target. In this case, it's going to be data/locations. And then we have another entries. And we want to use our sorry, I'm trying to understand how they did the Okay, so it's going to be farm underscore and then the name of our farm, if I'm understanding this correctly. And again, we will be testing this to make sure it works. Quotes, entries, colon, set of brackets. It's farm underscore. Oh, what did I do wrong? Quotes, quotes. One thing I love about VS Code is it tells you when you've broken syntax. We named our farm. Farm. So I'm going to copy our farm name there. I'm going to bring it down here. Colon. There's the curly brackets. So everything about our farm is going to go in here. I am not going to worry about a display name. I am not 100% sure what that actually does. And actually, let me go to location data. Maybe location data will tell us. Optional. I'm tempted just to copy it out of the example, but because I don't actually understand that part, I think I am going to leave it out and hope maybe whatever is normally the default will default in. So we're going to copy can plant here true over default arrival tile was, I believe, set up in not its default warp location. So we want 9517 just to be consistent. Copy. What did I say that was? 9517. Okay, so minimum daily weeds, max daily weeds. These are things for when like the weeds just kind of spawn on your farm and you get those messages that are like spreading debris has damaged your farm and things like that. That is kind of what sets this. So we do want those. I might change those numbers though. Put daily to 1. Get really lucky, but I'm also going to add up the max. And then let me see if I can see if that's in location. Yeah, so this is down here in the location. So the location data has this giant chart here that you can look through and see. Default 1 and 5. Let's just leave it. So you can have minimum and maximum daily forage spawn here. I am actually going to put those in because I like having forageables show up on the farm. Go down here, quotes. Comma at the end of that. Oh, these are standard values. So say 2, 5, 3, 0, clay. Transfer clay. So this is going to be a decimal or a percentage. Let's say roughly 50% of the time. No, let's make it 25% of the time. Transfer clay, colon, 0.25, comma. So now we have our weeds, our forage chances, chance for clay, about 25% of the time. All right, so now we're going to be looking at setting up your fishing and forageables and artifact spots. You can, if you go to your location data page, there are instructions here for how to insert custom fields or modify the amounts you need or want. However, if you don't do that, it'll just default to whatever's in the standard farm map, which they tell you right here on the modding farm data, if emitted defaults location data for the standard farm layout. So I'm going to leave the artifact spots alone. Just confirming, the standard farm does not have forageables, so we will have to set that. I did show you all how to do that, I believe, in our location video I did when I was making the Maple Park map. So the way we do this is, let's see, just says, oh, it's forage, not forageable, forage, comma. So everything for our forage and our fish areas are going to go inside these square brackets. I'm going to start with forage. Okay, so I'm going to do, I think the random item ID will let me just put the spring, fall, and summer and winter forages on the farm without having to list all of them individually, which just takes a lot of time. If you wanted just one or two, you would just use the item ID. But since I want all of the options, I'm going to do random item ID per season. So what I need is ID, random ID. All right, so we want 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 for each season. And again, we will be testing this to see if this actually works the way I think it works. I apologize if it doesn't. If I find out that something I've done doesn't quite work, I will go back and try to either edit or leave comments on what it was. We will also have a whole testing the farm map video done later. So ID. ID, comma, random item ID. Comma, chance, season. Default is 1. Let's do a 25% chance for all. So it's 0.25. Copy these fields into the 3. Now we're going to go through and name them. I'm going to go helps if I spell things correctly. And here we go. Spring, summer, fall. Sure. So now all we have to do is list out the random ID field with all of the forages we want chosen. This random ID field, I'm going to actually close, there it is, will show you one of these will be chosen with an equal chance of which is chosen based on the amount picked, the amount set, and we just list them out. So I need square brackets after random item. we want quotes around each one and an O. Comma separating them, and then so the brackets with the O indicate object, and these are all object. All right, let's go ahead and save that. So that's all of our foraging in. You can go and list them each individually. I am going to try this random ID thing and see if that works for us, if they become a little bit more randomized. And our farm will have a 25% chance of having things pop up for forage based off of the 3 to 4 items we chose per season. Now it is time to look at our fishing areas. All right, so now it's time to look at our fishing section. I've pulled up all the fish in our ID chart. We have our fish areas ready to start putting things into, and I'm going to go back to the fish areas thing. So fish areas is used if you want to split out your fish into different sections around your farm. If you want just standard map farmed fishing, you don't have to put any fish because it'll default to your standard fish from your standard farm. If you want to override and have the whole farm be one type of fish, then you would do just the fish. But in my case, I want fish areas because I want mountain fish up here by the waterfalls, and I think I want forest fish down here by the dock and the forest. And then, in theory, the standard farm fish will just default over to this pond and this middle section where I won't put any fish area. So we are going to open our code here and go back to my instructions for fish areas. I need the farm bracket type. Okay. I figured out what's throwing me off. I'm using square brackets instead of curly brackets. The fish areas requires the curly brackets if you're entering information. And now we I have 2 areas to set up here. Quotes, colon, curly brackets. This is going to be 8 out. All right. And then we can do display name. Don't really need a display name, so I'm just going to put that as null. Display name colon. I'm trying to remember if null is a boolean or a. Okay, null does not. Null's like a number. Null is like zip. Null. Comma. There we go. Display name null on both. And position. Oh, there it is. X, Y, width, and height. Just copy that quickly. And I'll show you how to format it. So position becomes X, Y, width, and height. X, always open and close. Y, width, height. And it's going to need a bracket on either side. And then, of course, we need a curly bracket. Open and close. Take out the and. So the way this goes is colon. Here we go. There we go. So we have X, Y. I'm going to move the X down so you can see a little bit. There we go. So we're going to choose, I believe it's the top left corner. 23.5. 8, 9, 10. 10 by 16 should get most of that. 10, 16. So that's our mountain section. Copy all of this. Nineteen down. And 19 down. Okay, so that sets up our fishing areas. So now we just have to set up the space, the type of fish in the fishing areas. So let me double check how we do that real quick. Okay, I think I've got this. So I had to do some reading and double check my understanding because what I want to use is the fish location. And at first when I was reading it, it looked like it was for like secret items. The thing is that fish are items according to game code, and that's where my brain was going, wait, what am I doing? So what we want to do is we want to put a comma at the end of the fish areas bracket. Go a line down. We're going to do new quotes. We're going to name this one fish to fall in line with the find it again. Where's my fishing? Farms maps. Fishing. Okay, that's the one we don't need. There we go. Fish. Here we go. Fish. So we're doing this part now. This is where we tell it what fish goes in which area. So we are doing, I think I want square brackets on this again. It'll tell me if I'm wrong because my color coding will go wonky. So we want, yes, so we want ID, colon, quotes, comma, quotes, fish area ID, colon, quotes, comma. So for ID, this is going to be, I'm just going to copy this, put a comma at the end so it separates the section. Okay, so I have two areas. So we want fish. Fish. And then we're going to copy our fish area name to here. And that's where we're going to tell it which fish to use. If you wanted to manually select each of your fishes and only do like one or two fish, there's a different way where you specify instead of fish. You would do, I can actually show you my Maple Park. So this is my Maple Park. So if you're doing each fish by itself, you would have to manually code the season, the ID, the item ID. I think you can do weather and all that. I'm wondering if now I should go back. I might go back and change my Maple Park fishes to follow this. But this, I think, is what I can get away with doing here. Sorry, this took a little bit of research on my end. Thank you so much, the community forums where people talk about this. So this is dynamic tokens. So these have to be written exactly this way. Bobber X, bobber Y, water depth with the underscores and all caps. From what I've read, what that does is it tells the code to automatically swap it with the player data on where their bobber landed and use it as a dynamic token. So that part we don't want to change. I'm going to copy it exactly like that, like I found it. And then I'm going to copy that down into my forest. I'm just going to change mount to forest because then it's pulling from the forest fish catch. And that is how you set a fishing area using a specific already coded locations fish. If you want to do just a few of them, then we would go in like I did for my Maple Park and you manually code each fish. Again, I didn't want to do that for my farm, so, and I knew I had heard that there was a better way, so we're going to try this way. We're going to see if it works, and if it doesn't work, then I'm going to go back and do it the long way. But for now, I think that's all of our fishing spots and areas set up, and the areas not specified should default to the standard farm. We have our fishing, we have our forageables. There's a couple ways to do forageables. With the updates, there might be a slightly cleaner way. I'm doing it this way right now, though I might change it later, but this way seems fairly straightforward to me and easy to explain, so we're going to try it this way. We have our icons and our world map loaded in and everything set up. So that is the JSON section of the video. Our next step is testing, and we're going to go load in and test and see how everything works on the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope the information is helpful.